The story of the Transfiguration of Jesus is really peculiar. Jesus' form suddenly changed and he became very bright and dressed in all white. And then before you know it, he went back to his usual self. What on earth is going on in this story? Well, there's a lot more than meets the eye. I'm Michael, the Bible Rethinker. It's time to rethink. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and leave comments. And check out my website, thebiblerethinker.org, where you can support this channel and access exclusive content. The Gospel according to Matthew tells the Transfiguration story like this. Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then, there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. A bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down to the ground, terrified. But Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." In our story, Jesus climbs up a mountain and he's accompanied by 3 of his disciples. And when he was up there, his body, his physique changed and he became very bright. And beside him appeared 2 Old Testament figures. There was Moses and then there was also Elijah. Now their presence was very interesting, not least because in both cases, Moses and Elijah, their death was a bit mysterious. In fact, the Jewish tradition is that they had just gone to be with God. In the case of Moses, Deuteronomy says that he would have a successor that would be even greater than him. Immediately, of course, the successor was Joshua, or Yeshua, a name that means Yahweh saves. And while he was a great successor of Moses, the Jewish anticipation would be that there would be a greater follower of Moses still. And our story seems to be suggesting that that successor, that rightful successor of Moses, was not the Yeshua of the Old Testament, but the Yeshua, the Jesus, Joshua of the New Testament. That's all the same name. Jesus' name means Yahweh saves. On the other side of Jesus was Elijah. Elijah had a successor named Elisha, a name that means God saves. And there was an Old Testament expectation that someday Elijah would return. And if Elijah returns, it stands to reason that he would then have a successor. Well, Jesus goes on to explain that Elijah has come. The Elijah is John the Baptist. And John the Baptist was succeeded by Jesus, a new Elisha. Well, as the story unfolds, we have God speaking. The disciples are terrified, but God said, "This is my Son." So what is this story about? What does it mean? What is it telling us about Jesus? Well, it's a kind of foreshadowing as to what's going to happen later on in the gospel. And to really grasp what's going on here, we really have to superimpose it. It's kind of like Photoshop. If you take this image and your imagination and you superimpose it on top of the story of the crucifixion, then both stories begin to take on fresh meaning. So imagine this. In the center is Jesus. At the crucifixion, he's not illuminous, but he's there on the cross. He's on the top of a hill, and on each side of him is another man. And they are crucified. And it is when Jesus dies that the Roman soldier cried out, "Surely he was the Son of God." And so the story of the Transfiguration plays out again in the story of the crucifixion, but in a whole new way. But when we superimpose one story upon the other, they infuse each other with fresh meaning. For Jesus to be the Son, to be the King, it means that he is going to lay down his life for the people. In most kingdoms, the way it works is the subjects lay down their life to protect the king. In Jesus' kingdom, the king lays down his life for his subjects. Jesus became the king by laying down his life. You remember the notice that was put over the cross? Jesus is the King of the Jews. How does he become king? He becomes king on that hill, on the cross. Again, there's a man on each side of him, and the Roman soldier cried out, "Surely he was the Son of God," a refrain that echoes what God said at the Transfiguration. So when we read one story, we can reflect on the other. They both infuse each other with fresh meaning. The crucifixion helps us understand the mission of Jesus and what the glorification of Jesus actually entailed. It was dying a brutal death on a cross. Share your reflection of these two stories down below.